Today, I'm going to be interviewing a former client of mine, Dominique Dunlop. She is a Pinterest marketing strategist, and I have her on a later episode of the podcast to talk all about that. But today, I am talking to her about her VIP day with me. So, we redid her website a few months ago and gave it a total overhaul. As you'll hear in this episode, she was already on Squarespace and had learned how to make some of those changes herself. She had designed her first website on her own, but she really needed something that was going to be consistent, coherent, and make her proud to share it online as she's growing her business and really reaching those high ticket clients. Hi, Dominique. I'm excited to chat about your website today.
I'm excited to be with you, Samantha.
All right, so let's get started by having you share a little bit about you, your business, and who it is that you work with.
Hey, I am a former teacher. I live near Winnipeg in Manitoba, Canada. And I left my teaching career, I guess, about 3.5 years ago when my second little one was born, and decided I needed to figure out to replace my income somehow at home. I couldn't be teaching anymore. And so I kind of fell down a whole bunch of rabbit holes in the online space, tried a ton of different things, and ended up realizing that I liked the marketing side of business. And I connected with an amazing Pinterest strategist who led me down the Pinterest rabbit hole. And now I'm here, Pinterest strategist and content repurposing specialist.
Awesome. And who are your main clients?
I work mostly with course creators, podcasters, and bloggers, anybody in the kind of the content marketing niche as opposed to like product based.
Okay, awesome. So can you walk us kind of through your website journey and history? How did it get started? What did that look and feel like for you? And then why did you decide it needed to be updated?
I started playing around with website, we'll call it design, just playing around with it back when I first quit my teaching career, and I had launched a preschool at home learning program. So I pieced together a website on my own. Then I ended up taking it was kind of a course slash membership, Squarespace focused, to get that sorted out a little bit. So I kind of learned the basics at that point. And then when I transitioned to the digital marketing side, I abandoned that website and started over fresh and put everything I knew into play. But my website just became a never ending do it yourself project of pick at this, poke at that, move this, nope, don't like that. And I never really felt like there was an end point. I never felt like I could just cross it off my list and say, yeah, my website is good. And then I connected with you.
Awesome. So you've been on Squarespace since the beginning, right? Which is different than a lot of people. They sometimes will find WordPress first or start a Wix blog, but you started out using Squarespace and learning how all of that works.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit about the process of working with me? What was that like on your end? And, what did you like, not like?
The process of working with you was so detailed and in-depth. I was quite thoroughly impressed by how much detail there was. And when I first received kind of the onboarding homework that you had sent me, it was somewhat intimidating because I felt like I maybe wasn't actually ready to take this step. But the more I sat down and the more I looked at it, I realized I was ready. It's just so much of that information was still in my head and it wasn't actually being conveyed onto my website. So that right away told me that A, I needed you, and B, it really helped me realize where I had been falling down when I was trying to do it myself. I had been so focused on the visuals and the pretty colors and what it was going to look like that there was a lot of pieces regarding, the copy and the tone and who I was actually trying to speak to that hadn't been thoroughly fleshed out. So going through the process of onboarding, it truly helped me actually give some solid direction and clarity to my own business, even prior to even touching my website. So that was super beneficial to have kind of be forced to work through all that, as opposed to me saying, yeah, I'll get to it someday. And obviously having that very clear deadline of when you needed my stuff by. As someone with ADHD, those deadlines are like super important to me. And I'll admit, I was up still at midnight the night before you needed my stuff, still typing. But I needed that push to just get it done. And then the actual process of having my website done was, it was actually really neat to be on my side and be receiving the update emails throughout the day and see it all kind of coming together and seeing something even more detailed than my own vision taking place, and realizing again, oh, I do have what I need. I just hadn't actually communicated it effectively. And you took that from me and communicated it beautifully.
Yeah. And I know I try to make the pre-work not as overwhelming, but if you're not working with a copywriter, there's a lot of copy that has to be created. Either, you're pulling it off of your website and making some tweaks, or you're having to write it. And I think that is the most intimidating part for people when you get in there and you're like, oh, I have to write stuff for all of these pages. Plus I have to give you like what I actually want my website to look like.
Yeah. But it was so effective because, like I said, it helped me gain so much clarity in my business and direction in general. So very helpful.
What was your favorite part of the VIP day process? Doing all that pre-work and then getting on the day where we're creating the entire site and getting it ready to launch.
My favorite part was actually finally being able to check website off my to-do list. Honestly. And again, as somebody with ADHD, I really, I want things done like now, and having that dopamine hit of it being checked off at the end of the day, so satisfying. I sat down that night and showed my husband. I'm like, look at this, it's all done. He's like, finally, like, I don't have to hear about this thing anymore. I'm like, yeah, we're done. I loved having it just done instead of drawn out over a month or 2 months or whatever. It kept me motivated to stay invested in it actually just getting done.
Yeah. And we did, during your support period, update some images because you had a new brand photo shoot, but like all we had to do was drop in the new pictures and then it was completely updated with your new photos and everything felt really cohesive.
Yeah. And it looked great prior to that. But once those brand photos were put in, it just completely elevated it. And so anybody that hasn't had like brand photos done, even if it's your best friend takes some nice photos for you, doesn't have to be fancy and expensive, I would recommend that, because even just the confidence in myself of looking at my website, I'm like, no, it actually looks professional. It doesn't look like my own do-it-yourself project anymore.
It's been a while since we did your website, so I'd love to know if you've seen any real results from that design as far as clients or income, raising your prices, those sorts of things.
I can't say I've seen results as far as clients, because for personal reasons, I've kind of ended up stepping away for a few months over the summer. But I was able to step back and know confidently that everything was still there and ready. I didn't have to focus on that. I have definitely seen a lot more inquiries in the past few weeks, and I've received a ton of compliments on the professionalism of what my site looks like.
Awesome. I think that's always fun when people tell you, they reach out and they're like, I loved your website. And that's why, part of why I wanted to reach out to you.
Yeah, I've had a ton, and I have referred your name out many times.
What advice would you give to somebody who's considering working with me on this VIP day process? Because it can be a little bit different than most people expect, and maybe they don't know what to, exactly what's going to happen. But what advice do you think people might need to know?
Give yourself the time to actually prepare. When Samantha says you might need, I think it says 10 hours in your onboarding, give yourself that time. Like, she means it. If you want to do it properly, it's going to take some time. And with that, I was thankful that we hadn't actually booked super close in. It gave me a lot of think time to go through it. We had actually ended up rescheduling my initial date too, because I was having some internet issues, but just having that time and space to really go through and make sure I had everything that I was going to want ready was really important. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had booked it in on a really kind of close deadline. And I think the other big thing is just really have a vision of who your website to speak to and what you want it to say kind of about you, which I didn't have that vision prior to going through the onboarding work. But as I went through it, I realized, I needed to be a lot more clear on who I was speaking to. So by the time I sent my stuff over to you, I think I had a pretty solid idea.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And people can check out your website, and you will be on the podcast talking about Pinterest and content marketing and all of that. So they can really dive into what you do. So make sure you guys check out that episode as well. Thank you so much, Dominique.
Well, thank you for everything, Samantha.
If you're interested in having me work with you on a VIP day so that you can get more confidence in your website and really feel like it is a true reflection of your business and that it's checked off your to-do list, so it's no longer hovering out there waiting for the next quarter or the next time you have a free moment, send me a DM or an email to learn more about my VIP day. As Dominique mentioned in the episode, there's lots of pre-work, but that makes sure you are ready for this day and you get the most out of it. And the good news is that you can actually get your website launched in a day. The VIP day process takes 5 phases, and at the end of your VIP day, if you're ready to launch, your website will be too. And you can have more confidence and convert more clients as you drive people to your site.